embarrass you for me to say that Susan Page is going to be the moderator tonight. We tried last week to take it when Chris Wallace was doing that. There's 5 million people that have voted. My guess is another 2 weeks, another 10 million will have voted. Election day is 5 days earlier this year. The other thing I can say, Rachel, is Donald Trump had the worst 7 days that I can remember in presidential campaign history. Yeah. He has no time to lose. So he's now losing to Joe Biden nationally by 10 points. I don't believe he's going to.
Welcome everyone. We're gonna take a few minutes to let people enter the meeting, and then we'll get started a couple minutes after the hour. All right, everyone, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. We might have a few people coming in late, that's okay. Welcome. Tonight, we're gonna be talking about your job and internship hunt, and to give you some resources on how to apply to jobs and internships if you kind of don't know where to start. So as an introduction, my name is Laura Polk. I work at the Career Services offices at the Embry-Riddle Prescott campus. I'm responsible for the aerospace engineering, mechanical engineering, space physics, astronomy, and cyber intelligence and security students. If you are from the Daytona or the worldwide campuses, welcome. If you are an alumni, this might not be the right workshop for you. This is more aimed at students that have never really conducted a job search before. Just to let you know, you're of course welcome to stay on, but just wanted to kind of give you a heads up about that. We are recording today, so just so that you know, you'll be able to view this later on the Career Services YouTube page. If you have questions throughout the workshop, you can go ahead and type them in the chat box. I'll be looking at those at the end and answering all of your questions. At the end, there will also be time for you to unmute yourselves and ask any questions that you might want as well at the end. So just to get started, does everyone see the PowerPoint up on your screen? If you could just respond in the chat box so I can make sure everyone's good to go. Awesome. All right, it looks like you guys can see it. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so tonight I kind of broke up the workshop into 4 parts. I wanted to talk about what an ideal application timeline would look like, and then I want to talk about the target application numbers, how many applications you should be sending out there to be successful. Third, I want to talk about where you're going to find job and internship postings, where I recommend you apply online and elsewhere. And then I'm going to wrap it up with some application tips on how to apply smart so that you're not wasting your time, so that you're making the most use out of your time to be successful in your job or internship search. So first, I want to talk about an application timeline. So it's great that you guys are logging in right now, because if you are looking for a summer internship or if you're graduating in May 2021, now is the perfect time to be applying to jobs and internships. A lot of established companies will open up their job and internship requisitions in the September-October timeframe. That's why we have our career fair every year at the beginning of October, because that's right when all of their applications are opening. So when you're thinking about applying right now and through October is when you should be doing the bulk of your applying for next summer. If you are graduating in December, it's definitely not too late, but you want to start applying, as soon as possible. Or if you're looking to the future, just remember, if you're a May graduate, that you want to start applying in September and October. This isn't true for all companies. Some, smaller companies might not have their applications open until later in the winter, but for most established larger companies with established internship and recent graduate programs, if you can kind of look at it from their perspective, they're trying to be very competitive with one another to get the best applicants. And so that's why they open up their requisitions so early to try to beat out other companies for the best candidates. If you're applying right now in the September-October timeframe, first round offers usually are extended, in the January-February timeframe, so in the winter. So that's when you should expect to receive some offers if you are following my instructions and applying to the right number of applications, etc. And then for a company, if they extend, let's say they extend 100 applications in January and only 50 people accept those, or if they extend, 100 offers in January, if they only have 50 students to accept those offers, that's how the spring recruiting cycle happens. So if they only fill 50% of their slots, in the spring, they're gonna try to fill the remaining amount of those spots. So definitely spring recruiting happens as well. And there are still jobs opening in the spring, but usually it's more limited because they've already filled a lot of their slots. So just to kind of give you an idea on where the company is coming from. So all this to say, it's encouraged to apply as early as possible and to as many applications as possible earlier in the season. And then continue to apply in the spring, obviously, if you don't hear anything back. But the earlier you apply, the more successful that you might be. Okay, second, it's encouraged to apply often and to apply to as many applications as possible. So we did a study, and for our engineering student here at the Prescott campus, on average, it's going to take about 47 applications, online applications, before you might hear one call back for an interview. And obviously, you're not going to get the job for every interview that you have. So use that statistic to kind of guide your job and internship search for how many applications you need to be applying to. Normally, for an average student, it's going to take at least 100 applications to start being successful in your job search. So that's a lot. And we'll go into some strategies on how to get up to that number of applications. But it's important to know that now, so that you can strategize, make a calendar, make a plan for, taking a chunk out of those 100 applications each week and trying to, apply steadily throughout the fall semester. If you're only applying online, this is the statistics you should use for the number of applications that you send out. Obviously, if you're a stellar candidate, if you have a 4.0 GPA, you have several internships under your belt already, you can expect that number to decrease on the amount of applications that you have to send out. And the flip side is true also if you're someone that maybe doesn't meet the GPA requirements, don't have a ton of experience, you might have to send out more than, this average amount of applications to start getting lucky. A way to help with your career search is to supplement with networking, career fairs, conferences, and hiring events. Anytime you have the opportunity to meet, when I say face-to-face, that can mean virtually. So to meet virtually with an employer, the better, right? So anytime you can bypass this online application system, you can help speed up your application process. So I definitely encourage you to seek out career fairs. We had our Prescott Career Fair last week. The Daytona Beach Virtual Career Fair is next week on the 13th. So if you haven't registered for that, I highly recommend you register and sign up for group and one-on-one sessions with employers. We'll go into networking a little bit later. Conferences, so seek out the diversity conferences are really huge on hiring. So SWE, SHIP, NESB are great conference, and all of them will be virtual this year. So it'll be more cost effective for you. Look into those, look into registering for their career fairs only. And then different companies are doing hiring events. So definitely follow companies that you're interested in and on LinkedIn, see if they're having any hiring events, and then register for those so you have the opportunity to speak one-on-one with recruiters. All right, so now let's get into where to find job and internship postings. It's important to use a variety of application sites to apply. We don't want you to just be using one portal, right? Because, different employers post in different areas. Obviously, the company website itself is a good place to look for internship and job postings. So if you are interested in one particular company, I would definitely be going to their website, going to their career page, and applying directly on their website. In addition, we're going to go into Handshake, but that is our job posting website. So any employer that comes to me and wants to market an opportunity to our students, I direct them to post it on Handshake. So any opportunity that I know about, you know about. There are no secrets. There's no hidden jobs that I'm keeping. They're all posted for you to see and to apply to. LinkedIn is huge, maybe not for applying, but for finding out about open job positions and to follow employers, and also an opportunity for employers to find you. If you are interested in government jobs, USA Jobs is a huge website that you should be on and be getting used to applying through that website. We're going to go into Career Shift. This is a job posting site that we pay for Embry-Riddle students. It's a job search website. It's also a repository of company contact information. So if you wanted to send a recruiter your resume directly, this would be a website that would let you do that. Google obviously is a place you can find jobs. Indeed is a huge one. Engineerjobs.com for engineers. I really love this one. I direct my students there all the time, and I'll kind of give you a sneak peek into that website in a minute. But definitely you want to be on a variety of different job search websites. I wouldn't just use one. Definitely create accounts at these websites, especially LinkedIn and Handshake, so that recruiters can also be searching for you. All recruiting has moved online due to the recent COVID situation, so they are actively searching for applicants. So let these websites work for you. Fill out your LinkedIn completely, fill out your Handshake completely. We'll go into how to do that so that you give the chance for some recruiters to also find you as well, because it really isn't a one-way street. It's a two-way street for you guys to find each other. These various websites, we went over that. You can also sign up for internship or job alerts. That sometimes can be helpful just to kind of, get some jobs in your email as well. And we went over how you can work on the company's websites as well. So I wanted to delve in a little bit through Handshake because, again, this is where we direct our employers that are interested in Embry-Riddle students to post their internships and jobs. So if you don't know how to log into Handshake, this is something you definitely want to learn. It is single sign-on through Ernie. So if you go to Ernie and you go to Tools, you're going to click on this symbol right here. And then from there, if you're already logged into Ernie, it's going to take you directly to the home page. It's very important to complete your profile and upload your resume to Handshake, because if you apply through the platform, that's what the employer is looking at for your application. They're looking at both the resume that you make public to them and also your profile. A lot of this information, such as major, GPA, work authorization, are automatically imported from Campus Solutions. But you do want to double check that your major is correct on there, your GPA, graduation date. This is huge. Our system does not import your graduation date. So to be visible for some jobs, you do want to update your own graduation date so that that's up to date. And that can help employers find you as well. I kind of went into this, the career search is not a one-way street, so you want to make sure that you complete your profile completely. Students with a full profile are 5 times as likely to be messaged by employers. And just to kind of give you a little bit of a sneak peek on this, I fake a student account. I fake being an aerospace engineer, and I fill out my profile, and I've already been reached out multiple times by employers thinking that I am a student looking for an internship. So it definitely works. You want to fill that out to start getting messaged by employers. There's a section of your profile called interests. A lot of students don't fill this out, but actually if you fill out all of this in full, you're 80% likely to be messaged by a recruiter. So definitely fill out the job types that you're looking for, such as internship, full-time, location. A lot of students are nervous to fill this out, thinking that if they say Denver, Colorado, that they're going to be, ignored for any other position that's not in Denver, Colorado. That's not true. All it does, it puts you on more job searches for the employer side. So if you are interested in multiple locations, put all of those locations down. You can put multiple ones in there, but I wouldn't leave it blank, meaning that you're open to everywhere. You're going to be put on more searches if you fill this section out so that you're on employers' radars. Job role, so if you're aerospace engineering, you could put aerospace engineer, systems engineer, and this is going to really help get you on the map as well. This should already be set for you, but just to double check, you want to make sure your privacy settings are set to either community or employers. If it's set to private, an employer won't be able to search for you, won't be able to see your resume. So if you want to take full advantage of this platform, I recommend putting this to community, because that also means you can message with your peers to ask advice on internships as well. Okay, so I want to leave this really quick and just do a quick tutorial on how to find jobs on Handshake. So here we go. So if you log into Handshake, your home page is going to look like this. So if you click on jobs, this is where you're going to conduct your job search. So obviously there's a lot of filters you can use. I'm going to pretend that I'm a student looking for an internship. You obviously can fill out a lot of things here. So if you're an international student, use the accepts OPT CPT button. That means they're willing to hire international students. You can search by industry. For a lot of you, I would search by major. So if you're an aerospace engineering major, I would look for the employers that are looking for aerospace engineering majors for internships. And here we go. We've got 732 internships posted on Handshake. So you can filter through here. If it says apply externally, it's going to take you to their external website to apply, which is fine. Some of them are going to say just apply. And if they do, let me see if I can find it. A lot of them do say apply externally, but when you do get one that just says apply, it's kind of nice because all you have to do is click apply, and then they use your Handshake profile and your resume, and then you've done applying. So that can help you get to that 100 applications very quickly. But again, a lot of them are going to take you to their external website to apply, which is fine. While you're searching through these, if there's ones that you want to come back to that you like, let's say you're really interested in this one, all you have to do is click this little save button right here. And then the next time you go to your Handshake homepage, it's going to show you all the jobs that you've saved, which is kind of nice. And the more that you apply to jobs, the more that Handshake is going to provide some jobs that you might be interested in applying to. So that's something that I would take advantage of as well. Really quickly, I talked about graduation date. Make sure every time you apply for jobs that you go to your profile and you make sure this graduation date is up to date, because every once in a while Campus Solutions does a swipe and this is going to change to say, you know, when you started to present. And my worry with that is it's not going to show all of the jobs that you're eligible for, because employers will set certain graduation dates that they want to hire. So make sure if it says present that you're just going in and changing this every once in a while to your accurate graduation date. So let's say it's May 2021, save. If employers are looking for a certain GPA, you want to make sure that your GPA is here and it's not hidden from employers. It's up to you whether you want to put your GPA or not, but a lot of times employers will put a GPA requirement, and so it won't show up in your search if you don't meet that GPA. So you want to make sure, again, that your profile is filled out completely and that your privacy settings, which you can find under settings and privacy, are set to community or employers. So that's kind of a brief tutorial on how to apply to jobs through Handshake, really fast and easy. I would definitely use that as your main source to find internships and jobs. You want to use other platforms as well, but definitely be using this because a lot of employers have moved on to Handshake since everything is remote right now. Okay, Career Shift. I mentioned this a little bit at the beginning. Career Shift is another job search site that you can use that's housed within Handshake. It's a paid service that we provide for all Embry-Riddle students and alumni. A really great thing that's built into Career Shift is a repository of company contact information. So if, let's say you really wanted to intern at Ball Aerospace, in addition to applying online, I would go into Career Shift, search for representatives at Ball Aerospace, and send emails directly to people at their company. Now, we don't want to send emails to the engineers themselves or CEOs or project managers. We want to be sending emails to people whose job it is to find talent. So you're looking for job titles such as human resources, talent acquisition, employer or university relations, those types of job titles. And then I would email them a short email saying something like, I'm interested in interning or working at your company. I would love to set up a time to talk. My resume is attached, something short and sweet like that. And just like applying online, you are definitely not going to hear back from everyone that you email. But if you start sending out enough of them, you might start hearing back from some recruiters. And again, anytime you have that face-to-face contact or networking opportunity, the better, because you're not working through an online application system. So the way that you get to Career Shift is through Handshake. So once you go to Handshake, you're going to click on Career Center, click on Resources, and then click on Career Shift. And there's some other great resources, that you might want to check out as well. Sorry, I went ahead. But that's how you get there. And in addition to just showing internships and job postings, again, it's a great resource to find company contact information. Okay, we kind of went over this at the beginning, but I wanted to quickly delve into Handshake and Career Shift, but also want you to know that also these are great resources to be using. I'll show you quickly just engineerjobs.com. Because I know a lot of you are engineers on the call. A lot of engineering companies use this website, and I really like it because there's a lot of things that you can search for For instance, if you're only looking in a particular geographic location, it can filter by that, which Handshake can do as well, but this kind of has more opportunities on here. You can filter it by entry level only, which is helpful for a lot of you. Sometimes it's hard to tell, oh, is this really entry level or do they need more experience? And there's another one on here that's just for internships that you can search for. So this is a great resource, engineerjobs.com. Students think it's engineeringjobs.com. Remember, it's engineerjobs.com. Okay. Okay, so yes, the previous slide tells you all the places that you can find postings to apply to. The ones that I would heavily be focusing on are Handshake, and then it depends on your degree. If you're an engineer, I would definitely be using engineer.coms. If you're a cyber student looking particularly for government jobs, USA Jobs is fantastic. It just kind of depends on your degree program. Okay, so now we're gonna delve into some application tips. So generally, we want to tailor your resume as much as possible to the job description. So you may have heard the word keywords floating around. You need to have keywords in your resume. You need to put keywords in your application. That's because when you apply online, it's an AI reading your resume, deciding whether you're going to get through to the next step. It's not a human reading your resume in most cases. So when you're going to have a general resume that you're going to use for all of your applications, but for each one, you do want to try to tailor as much as possible. Make sure that you're reading the job descriptions carefully and making sure that those keywords that show up in the job descriptions also exist on your resume. Obviously, I don't want you to spend, a half an hour each application that you're applying to, because we need to get that number up as much as possible. But you'll notice that for the first maybe 10 applications, if you start tailoring them, those same keywords are going to show up multiple times. So once you kind of start tailoring your resume for the first 10 applications, it's usually pretty ready to go with those keywords ready to go for the remaining of your applications. I don't recommend submitting a cover letter unless it's required. If it's a required part of the application, absolutely write a cover letter, or it's your dream internship or job. I've read a lot of cover letters. A lot of them aren't that great. And a lot of them honestly don't get read by the employer. So because we need to be applying to so many applications, I don't recommend wasting your time writing a cover letter. I would rather you spend that time getting those keywords in your resume. So that's just something to keep in mind, and hopefully save you some time. This is another question that I receive all the time. Students are worried, I don't want to apply to this job because I don't meet 100% of the application or the qualifications. Generally, if you're meeting 70 to 80% of the qualifications, you should apply. If you're on the edge of, ooh, I'm not so sure I should apply, just apply and leave it up to the company to decide whether or not you're qualified, right? There's no downside to applying. They've done studies a lot of times, men, if they meet 60 to 70% of the qualifications, they'll apply, whereas women won't apply to those same applications. So if there's any women on the call, I definitely recommend you to definitely read this bullet point and take it seriously. They aren't looking for you to meet 100% of the qualifications. So don't worry about that too much. If you are graduating and you're looking for full-time jobs, you want to be looking for words such as entry level, level 1, new grad positions. A lot of these positions are going to ask for 1 to 3 years of experience, and that is okay. Think of your college, your 4+ years in college as being those 1 to 3 years of experience. Not a lot of positions are going to ask for 0 years of experience, so I want to make sure that you're applying to as many positions as possible. So this is kind of a good, tip for, try to find these words. And also usually 1 to 3 is entry level. Anything above that is probably, not new grad or entry level, and you'll want to stay away from it. But 1 to 3 is okay. Okay, more application tips. We want to create your online career brand. This is especially important during COVID. Like I said, all recruiting has migrated online, so it's now more important than ever to make sure that you are visible online. So the two websites that I really want you to pay the most attention to are LinkedIn and Handshake. You want to make sure that your profiles are filled out completely and that you're on those platforms often, interacting with the platforms, following companies that you're interested in, maybe messaging messaging employers about opportunities. The more that you're active on that platform, the better, and the more likely you are to be messaged by an employer. Clean up your social media. So if you're on Facebook, Instagram, and it's not private, even if it is private, make sure that you are being clean on there and you're not posting anything that would make an employer not want to hire you, because they do check those sites. Okay, get organized. So again, you're going to be applying to a lot of applications. So a simple spreadsheet works best to keep track of the jobs that you've applied for, where you've been invited to interview, etc. It also is a great idea to keep a spreadsheet of your username and passwords for different job sites and company websites. So every time you apply through a company website, they're going to ask you to create an account. So you're going to want to keep track of all those usernames and passwords so you can get back into your application if needed and check whether you're still in the running for the position. So just a simple spreadsheet is really helpful. Make a calendar that works for you to continually apply for internships and jobs. Again, it can be really overwhelming to think of the amount of applications that you need to send out. So it often helps for students to break that up in chunks and have like a weekly goal of the amount of applications that you're going to send out, and then just try your best to keep to that goal. And then if you take it one chunk at a time, it doesn't seem as overwhelming as if you're trying to do it all at once. Networking. So I'm sure you hear this all the time. Networking is very, very important and an essential part of your job search. So networking can happen in person or online, such as LinkedIn or Handshake. A great way to network and meet recruiters is through career fairs, hiring events, and conferences. So again, we have Daytona Beach's Virtual Career Expo coming up on the 13th. You can sign up to speak to employers there. If you have a one-on-one with an employer, don't be afraid to ask for their contact information. They might just give it to you, and then you can follow up with a thank you email, and even, emails after that asking about opportunities or asking to possibly pass your resume along to the hiring manager. Same goes for conferences or hiring events. These are great opportunities to not only meet recruiters, but to keep in touch with them. So I often say, if you're networking with someone and you don't get something out of that interaction, such as a business card, a contact, or you don't give them your contact information, there was really no point to that interaction. And I know how much goes into preparing for those. So you want to make sure whenever you have a one-on-one interaction with an employer that you're asking for a contact and you're following up with them. Don't be afraid to reach out to people on LinkedIn. The worst that can happen is they ignore you, and that happens all the time. It's going to take, multiple messages to start hearing back. If you know someone working at a company that interests you, whether it's a family friend or an alum, ask for a referral. So hiring managers would rather interview people that came recommended before, filtering through thousands of online applications. So anytime you know someone at a company that you might be interested in interning for or working for, don't be afraid to shoot a quick email and say, hey, I'm interested in working at this company. Can we, schedule a phone call so I can ask you a little bit about your internship program? And then after doing that, ask them to pass your resume along. So that's what we call an informational interview. So an opportunity to network and ask an employer just for more information is a great opportunity to network without asking for too much from the employer. If you have an established contact that you've made, I usually recommend students follow the 4 times a year rule. So check in with that contact 4 times a year with a quick email that says something like, hi, we met at the career fair in October. I wanted to check in and let you know that my senior capstone is going great and I'm still looking for a job, just passing my resume along. You can talk to me about what that email might look like, but we don't want to not contact them at all, and we don't want to overwhelm them. So 4 times a year rule is usually a good, rule of thumb for networking. Okay, I went through that pretty quickly, but I did want to, have time at the end for you to ask your questions. So if you have a question, there's a couple options. You can either chat about it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask over your microphone. If you feel like you got what you needed from this presentation, you feel free to log out at any time. But now we're just going to open it up to questions whenever you guys are ready. So Mason asks, is there a way for us to have access to this slideshow? Mason, I'll go ahead and email it to everyone on the call afterwards, but also the entire presentation will be on our Career Services YouTube channel. But I know the slideshow would be more helpful. So I'll email the slideshow to everyone, to the 11 participants. Sure. Any other questions? Ty, great question. So do freshmen commonly get accepted for internships even if they require more experience? So I wouldn't say it's common, but it's not impossible. If you can imagine, most hiring managers, if they're looking for interns, are looking for students that are either a sophomore or junior because they have more heavy duty engineering. Well, it depends on what degree program you're coming from, but for any degree program, you just have more experience as a sophomore and junior. So those students are usually going to beat you out for those internship opportunities. That being said, there's freshman interns that are accepted all the time. So I definitely encourage you to apply. The worst that happens is you don't get something this year, but you have, great experience for applying in subsequent years because you kind of know how the experience goes. You may have even gotten a few interviews that you got to practice, which would be great. Also, some companies such as Gulfstream have rotational co-op programs, meaning Delta has this as well, meaning you would spend one semester at school and then one semester at the company for a co-op or for an internship. And for those types of programs, they want students to hire students early on. So for example, Gulfstream actively seeks out freshmen. So there are situations like that. It's like for rotational programs where they're trying to get people in early. But other than that, it is harder as a freshman to get an internship, but not impossible. Okay. Yeah, I think so too. I think everyone probably has their questions answered. So I'll go ahead and log off. I will email everyone. Oh, could you provide us with a template of a resume that is well highlighted and that will be catchy? So let me show you something. The resume template that I would recommend depends on your degree program. So a great resource that I recommend is to go to Embry-Riddle Career Services. So that's our external website. Click here, click on resources, click on resume/CV tips, and then we have a template for pretty much every degree program that we offer at Embry-Riddle. So it depends on your degree program what template I would recommend. So for example, let's say you're a business administration student. that's kind of what we're looking for on your resume. So I would navigate to our career services website to check out some resume templates on there. Maisa, are you a current Embry-Riddle student? Okay, yeah, so you have a career services program manager and they would be responsible for reviewing your resume. So it depends, what campus are you from? Daytona. So you would need to find who your campus manager is. I think on that same website, they should have contacts for you. So let me look. Daytona Beach. More info. Yeah, so you can see on this page who's responsible for your degree program. So Erin, as you can see, has all these degree programs. Find your degree program and then you can email your program manager directly and they'd be happy to do a resume review for you. You're welcome. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and follow up with an email. I'll probably email a slideshow tomorrow morning. So be expecting that. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and log out. If you have any further questions, sorry, I was distracted by the chat. If you have any further questions, just reach out to your career services program manager. That's what we're here for, is to help you with your job search. So thank you guys so much for attending, and I will see you guys later.